Hello guys, and welcome back to another installment of The Story. Now we've got to preface this with a little bit of unfortunate news, I guess, in that, one, we missed a week, but it was actually because our church is actually taking a bit of a break. But this is actually some good news in a sense, because now we can go back and fill in the first, was it 6 chapters?
Something like that.
That we kind of skipped, because I think we either started at chapter 6 or we started at chapter 7. So we're going to go back, well, our church is on this break, and we're going to fill you guys in on chapters 1 to 5 or 1 to 6,
Yeah,
whatever.
1 to 5, because it started at 6.
Yeah. So we do apologize for that, a little bit of jumpiness. We were trying to figure out what to do, but I think we got it. We really hope you'll enjoy it, and eventually we can all watch them, front to back. It'll make a lot more sense. So that's the deal. So again, we apologize about that, but let's kick it off with creation. The beginning of life as we know it. So Wemmy, I would like you to take it away with the words that probably anybody who's ever looked at the Bible knows.
In the beginning, God created heaven and earth.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So go ahead.
The earth was without form.
Okay, you can read it or say it normally. Yeah.
So, in the beginning, we have the beginning, really. And in the first couple of chapters of the Bible, as I think pretty much anyone who's ever heard about the Bible would know, is we have the explanation or the story. Not the story, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a counting term. Anyway, it's the play-by-play of how the earth and we all came to be, in a sense. So here we talk about just, the basics. Do we need to go over the basics?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, actually.
The basics being the heaven and the earth, the animals, the plants, underwater, the clouds, the skies, the sun, and the moon, day and night. All those things were created. Then eventually God was just like, alright, now I need something in my image. And hence comes us.
So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. I think that's what you're referring to.
That is exactly what I was referring to.
I'm on the ball today. Yeah.
So, I'm going to also, put a little note in here. I'm going to be throwing in some things that I've been learning from school as well that happen to tie into the subject. So, just kind of perfect timing, really. So, we go into humans are made. Everything's all good. We're in the garden. We're chilling. Like, Adam's just like, kind of cool, kind of lonely, but it's alright, whatever. Then God was like, alright, I see your point. So, little note that I've always kind of learned in this whole story of Eve coming in much later than Adam is the sense that God kind of wanted man to know how to take care of things, to be that, take care
alpha dog.
Yeah, of things, and really get his own place before giving him a helper, a partner, to make sure that he gets a hang of what he's supposed to be doing. And I've heard this being related a lot to, like, finding a partner in life, that we don't come to that place of finding this perfect partner until we as individuals have solidified ourselves as persons, knowing who you are, knowing what you want out of life, what you stand for, knowing how to love yourself, love God, love the things around you, and then can you really truly fit with a person and help each other out. Because if you're all over the place and someone comes in who's on firm ground, you're either going to drag them all over the place or they're going to be like, alright, this isn't working, deuces.
Gonna clash.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole drowning underwater. Like, you both can't be flailing at the same time. Everyone's just going to die. Okay, I'll stop.
Let's reel it back in here.
So you guys get the point with that.
Yeah. So Adam and Eve are, in the Garden of Eden, and they're getting along well. So yeah, as Wemmy said, like Eve was created from Adam's rib and all that. Now they were only told a couple of rules. I don't have them handy. Oh no. They were only told 2 rules. I think it was do not eat from. Is it right there?
Mhm.
Oh, where? Do not eat where?
You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For where you eat from it, when you eat from it, you will certainly die.
Yeah. So that was the only rule. Was there only one rule? I thought there was 2 for some reason. But anyway, so that was the only rule. And so then what kind of happened is Eve, she was approached by the serpent, and he had some kind of negative aspects to him, and that he was really clever in that he tricked her.
Crafty,
so, He was crafty, yes. So basically, he kind of took this rule, and we do it a lot in I think our lives. And he took this rule and he basically, first of all, pushed it aside and was like, nah, that's not even a rule. Like, come on, like, don't worry about that.
It's like, I think he kind of got that sense of like a white lie. Is that what it would be? Kind of saying like, well, did he exactly say this?
Yeah, I think it was,
because he said that. So does that actually mean,
So it was more,
don't do that?
He was trying to like catch God on a technicality almost, in a sense, and have Eve fall for that. And then after that, in pursuit of that, Eve was still like, nah, I don't think I should eat. But then he said, basically he exaggerated the law, or the rule, in that, you know what, why can't you even touch the tree of knowledge? And it's basically like, if you touch it, you'll just know all the answers. So like, come on. And so basically, that was never the rule. It was you can't eat fruit from the tree of knowledge. So basically, by exaggerating that law, it starts to become silly. Because like, yeah, why can't I touch the tree? So then Eve started having those thoughts, like, what's gonna happen? And what happened?
And she, she's like, all right, I'm gonna have some. And then her husband, she's like, hey babe, come here for a second. Have a bite of this apple. He's like, all right.
Yeah. And so now everybody blames kind of Eve in a sense, but we learned that, yeah, like, sure, Eve did a wrong thing, but in reality, like, where was Adam? He was probably standing right there just watching her.
Yeah,
and
he's like, I'm not going to say anything. Like, whatever she tells me, I'll just,
get your woman under
control,
control,
And if we,
Adam.
remember, Adam received that instruction specifically, and that's the point to say, hey, woman, I understand you want to eat this fruit, it looks good and all that, but... yeah, let's just go over there and get that fruit instead.
So.
And secondly, here's my thing that just came up. Why she listen to the serpent?
Because he's good.
He's crafty, but I feel like that's my man. Like, he said we're not going to do that sometimes, so we're not just going to do that. Like,
you know what I'd be like? Is like, why is there a snake talking to me? Like, that's messed up. Like, why would I listen to a snake to tell me to eat something? Just all kinds of bad. Anyway.
But anyway, that happens. So
God gets very angry with Adam and Eve, and ultimately kicks them out of the garden.
Banishes them.
And that's when sin is born, and all of a sudden they're ashamed of their naked selves. They're like, there's just so much more pressure and kind of ideas now floating around that never existed before. So that was kind of bad news for them.
Yep.
So God says nuts to you guys, and moves on. And so then we get to a fella called Noah. Right? No.
Sure.
Oh no, I jumped over the kids. I jumped over the kids.
Like,
I'm
they
sorry.
had a bunch of kids.
Sorry. Go back.
Yeah. So we have Cain and Abel, born by Adam and Eve. Now, Cain and Abel are brothers, as we probably already know. And these two are siblings. In the very definition of siblings.
A little bit of rivalry.
A little bit of rivalry, a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of, how come he gets that and I don't get it? And how come this? And you know how we get as kids. Like, just, if you want what your brother wants what you want, and yeah. But eventually they kind of went a little too far with it. Go ahead.
So basically, Abel was the kind of sought the good eye in his...
The prize kid.
Yeah. And Cain didn't like this so much, so eventually he secludes Abel out kind of in the pasture or whatever, and he attacks him and ultimately kills him. Yes. And so this was the first, I think this was the first murder committed under the new birth of people.
Yes.
And so so that was just sadness.
So just another hint of sin is introduced a little bit further. So I just wanted to bring in the idea of understanding creation and sin, like kind of the way that it works, in the sense that we were in this perfect world. We were created to be like the human. How do I say it? How do I put this?
I don't know where you're going for.
Okay. Okay. God created humans to be in His image. So hence, we were created with an innate good. that's what I'm going for. And I think there's a common conception, and this is something we kind of battled out in class a bit, because some of us do believe that there's an innate evil and all. People believe there's an innate good. But through this, I think we can see that God did create humans with an innate good, but unfortunately, we tend to falter and go towards the evil side of things, because more often than not, evil looks good. And I think that's important for us to realize, is that when these things are when we find ourselves in unpleasant situations, realize that somewhere deep inside of us, we are good. We are supposed to be good. There is good in there. Somewhere, it's in there. Yeah.
Cool.
So, go ahead.
Okay. Sure. Well, then we got Noah. So basically we jump ahead a little bit, and God chooses Noah to basically start over again, kind of start from scratch. And so he instructs Noah to build the ark. Obviously, you're probably very familiar with Noah's Ark, and so he's instructed...
There's a movie out right now, actually, about Noah's Ark.
Is it out already?
It came out on Friday.
It did come
Noah.
out. So basically he's instructed to build this ark, gigantic, and house 2 of every animal. 1 female, 1 male, and basically be able to start new. And so he does this. It takes... Noah's 600 years old. 601, actually, I believe. Mm-hmm. And when he starts this, and it takes him a long time, multiple years, and I believe multiple decades even. Mm-hmm. But he does finish, and sure enough, as he finishes, the rain comes falling down. And how long did it fall for?
40 days and 40 nights.
There's like a million songs about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the rain comes down and wipes out all the creatures of the earth, but except those on the ark.
Yep. And hence we have, so Noah had his kids, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, I believe were their names. Mm-hmm. And they were just like, Dad was getting close to, dying. And they're like, all right, well, I want this and I want that. And he was intoxicated.
Noah.
Yeah, Noah was intoxicated, heavily intoxicated, and drunk and naked. And his sons, unfortunately, did not respect their father in his drunken state. And they did exploit him and, made fun of him and all kinds of crazy things. So due to that, when Noah kind of came to it, he did place somewhat of a curse on his children, on the 2 that, made fun of him the most. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He blessed some and cursed some. So that's kind of how it went. And yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much... I'm sorry, I don't have the exact curse or whatever. Okay. Basically that's the telling of Noah, and then the story then goes into introducing a man called Abram, whose name later changes to Abraham. Yes. And he is basically the father of the entire descendants of Israel. Yes. And of the promised land. And we'll get into that in the future, sure. Chapters, but that's kind of how chapter 1 ends. And yeah, so a lot of stuff. And it's wild to think that this all was covered in Genesis, and it's probably like the most widely known pieces of the Bible, mm-hmm. but there's probably so little detail. Yeah. Compared to other parts where it goes through the
genealogy and stuff.
Yeah. But anyway, so that is chapter 1 of the story. Okay, we will be back next week with chapter 2, when God builds a nation.
Oh, look at my guns.
So, thanks for joining us. We really have fun doing this, so I hope you guys enjoy this. And as we said, chapters 1 to 5 now to get everybody back on track. So we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.